Islam banned alcohol 1400 years ago. Science is just catching up to why. Alcohol is literally classified as a poison by medical experts. It's the only drug where withdrawal can actually kill you. In 2023 alone, 50 deaths from alcohol poisoning reported to U.S. poison control centers. Over 2.6 million deaths worldwide linked to alcohol use. Alcohol withdrawal syndrome can cause seizures, hallucinations, and death. It's called delirium tremens, and it's fatal in untreated cases. The alcohol industry produces 1.5 gigatons of CO2 annually, equivalent to 276 million cars. It destroys prime farmland and wastes 870 liters of water per liter of wine. 80% of men who abuse partners were drinking. Alcohol is involved in 24% of domestic violence incidents. The numbers don't lie. 1.8 billion Muslims avoiding alcohol saves 104 million tons of CO2 annually. That's like taking 22 million cars off the road forever. The Quran called alcohol the work of Satan. Modern science calls it a neurotoxin, carcinogen, and environmental disaster. If the Ummah could claim carbon credits for alcohol abstinence, they'd earn $500+ million annually. But the system isn't designed for religious practices. Islam's wisdom protected believers from poison, violence, and environmental destruction. Are you shocked with 104 million carbon credits annually? But what if we calculated Islam's total environmental impact since Prophet Muhammad? 1,400 years, 14 centuries. Since 622 CE, Muslims have been avoiding alcohol while the world burned fossil fuels and destroyed the environment. Started with a small community in Medina, grew to 100 million by 1000 CE, 300 million by 1500 CE, 2 billion today. Each generation avoiding alcohol is massive CO2 savings. Medieval period, 500 years times 150 million Muslims gives us 3.9 billion tons CO2 saved. Modern era, 124 years times 1 billion Muslims, that's 6.4 billion tons. The math is insane. Total, 19.1 billion carbon credits over 1,400 years. Current value, nearly $1 trillion. That's more than most countries' entire GDP. To put this in perspective, that's equivalent to removing every car on Earth for 50+ years. It's a larger carbon offset than most nations will ever produce in their entire existence. And we're not even counting Ramadan fasting, Islamic water conservation practices, moderation teachings, or charity requirements. This is just from avoiding alcohol. Ramadan alone, 1 billion Muslims fasting reduces food production emissions for 30 to 60 days annually. That's millions more tons of CO2 saved we haven't even calculated. Islamic teachings on water conservation. Do not waste water even if performing ablution by a river. Imagine the cumulative water and energy savings over 14 centuries. Modern world just discovered carbon credits in the 1990s. Islam has been practicing the ultimate carbon offset program for 1,400 years. Who's really ahead of their time? $1 trillion, 19.1 billion credits, 1,400 years of environmental protection, and this is just one religious practice. What other wisdom are we missing? Is your mind still actively blowing with Islam's trillion-dollar carbon history? Wait, don't blow your top yet. We've only counted alcohol prohibition. But what about when 2 billion people fast together? Every Ramadan, 1.8 billion Muslims reduce food consumption for 30 straight days, plus 3 months of preparation fasting twice a week. This is the world's largest coordinated climate action. Average person, 4 kilograms CO2 from food daily. Fasting reduces this by 50%. That's 2 kilograms saved per fasting day. 54 fasting days times 2 kilograms, that's 108 kilograms CO2 saved per Muslim annually. 2 billion Muslims times 108 kilograms, that's 216 million tons of CO2 saved every year. That's like removing 47 million cars from the road forever. Alcohol prohibition, 104 million carbon credits. Fasting, 216 million credits. Total, 320 million credits annually worth $4.80 to 16 billion. And we're still not done counting. Over 1,400 years, alcohol plus fasting is 49 billion carbon credits. Current value, $735 billion to $2.45 trillion. Bigger than most countries' entire economies. Ramadan should be dubbed Earth Month. The 3 holy months before it? Go green season. Islam created the world's first environmental calendar 1,400 years ago. Quran says fasting is a shield from the fire. We thought it meant spiritual fire. Turns out it can be taken literally too. Fasting protects the earth from the effects of global warming. Ancient wisdom, modern science. This wasn't accident. The same mind that negotiated complex trade deals designed the world's most successful climate program. 2 billion people participating voluntarily for 14 centuries. And we still haven't counted water conservation, charity requirements, or moderation teachings. Every Islamic practice has hidden environmental benefits we're just discovering. Why was Prophet Muhammad sent? The Quran says Prophet Muhammad was sent to both humans and jinn. But why mention jinn at all? The answer involves water conservation and cosmic environmental responsibility. Water scarcity affects 2 billion people today, but Islam solved this 1,400 years ago with the most efficient conservation system ever created, and it had to work for 2 different species. Jinn are beings of smokeless fire. They exist in a different dimensional space but share our environment. If you're teaching environmental stewardship, you teach everyone who affects the ecosystem. Islamic water conservation works for any intelligent species. Use only what you need. Don't pollute sources. Share resources equitably. These aren't human-specific, they're universal environmental laws. NASA now studies water conservation for space colonization. Their efficiency standards? Almost identical to 1,400-year-old Islamic practices. Cosmic environmental responsibility was always the goal. Water conservation equals energy savings equals carbon reduction. 2 billion Muslims practicing this daily is massive hidden carbon credits we haven't calculated. If jinn exist in parallel dimensions but affect our environment, then environmental damage impacts multiple realms. Islam taught multidimensional environmental responsibility before science knew dimensions existed. Whether you believe in jinn or not, the principle is brilliant. Environmental stewardship must be universal. Every intelligence that affects the ecosystem has responsibility to protect it. Alcohol prohibition, fasting practices, water conservation, all designed for maximum environmental impact across multiple types of consciousness. This is cosmic environmentalism. But who designed this cosmic environmental system? The unlettered prophet myth destroyed. Prepare to discover the environmental genius behind it all. How a 7th century unlettered merchant outsmarted modern environmental scientists. For 1,400 years, they said Prophet Muhammad was uneducated to prove divine revelation, but what if we've been translating unlettered completely wrong this whole time? Successful international merchant, known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. Negotiated complex trade deals, managed currency conversions across empires. This sound uneducated to you? Unlettered meant no formal religious training, not unintelligent. He was the average man who received extraordinary spiritual insight. Big difference from being stupid. This unlettered genius designed the world's largest carbon offset program, perfect water conservation systems, cosmic environmental responsibility for multiple species. Modern environmentalists are still catching up. During Mirage, he negotiated fasting from 120 days to 30 days. That wasn't random. That was strategic environmental policy. Maximum impact while maintaining sustainable compliance for billions of people. While traveling trade routes, he observed climate patterns across regions, resource scarcity impacts, sustainable versus wasteful practices, environmental degradation consequences. This fed into his environmental policies. He created a system that's been running for 1,400 plus years, involves 2+ billion people, saves 49+ billion tons of CO2, and it's worth over $1 trillion in carbon credits, all while building a world religion. The genius level, cosmic. No wonder Jesus referred to him as Ahmed, meaning commendable, the highly praised one. Paris Climate Accord had 196 countries, struggling compliance. Islamic environmental system, 2 billion people, 1,400 years of proven results. Which system actually works at scale? Quran contains ring structures, but the verses were revealed randomly over 23 years, and then compiled, only to reveal perfect mathematical patterns. You try creating that accidentally while running a revolution and building a civilization. Let's not kid anyone. We can hardly run a successful SimCity. Yet they called him unlettered to prove divine revelation. Turns out recognizing his genius makes the achievement even more impressive. Divine wisdom working through human intelligence, not despite it. Modern environmentalists think they discovered carbon credits. Reality. They're 1,400 years behind an unlettered Arabian merchant who solved climate change before we knew it existed. Next time someone calls Prophet Muhammad uneducated, show them the numbers: 49 billion carbon credits, $1 trillion environmental impact, 2 billion people participating. That's not luck, that's genius. If this video blew your mind, subscribe to find out what other ancient wisdom is actually advanced science we haven't caught up to yet.